Here's a question that sounds almost absurd in a world of heated blankets and thermostats. How did medieval people actually sleep through winters so cold that water froze indoors, breath crystallized in the air, and nights stretched endlessly into darkness? And why might their way of sleeping be smarter than ours today? Imagine lying down in a wooden house with no central heating, no insulation foam, no electric hum, just silence, frost, and the slow creak of timber shrinking in the cold. And yet, instead of suffering through sleepless nights, people rested, recovered, and rose again before dawn. And the paradox is this: while modern homes are warmer than ever, we struggle more with cold-related sleep problems during blackouts, storms, and energy shortages. So, as we step back into the medieval night, we're not just uncovering how they survived, we're uncovering a forgotten system of sleep that treated warmth not as something to switch on, but something to protect with intelligence and discipline. To understand medieval winter sleep, you have to understand how deeply cold shaped everyday life. Because winters were longer, harsher, and far more dangerous than most people experience today, homes were built from timber, earth, or stone. Fires burned low or went out entirely at night, and fuel was precious, meaning people couldn't rely on constant heat. And yet sleep wasn't optional. It was essential for survival in a world of physical labor, and over centuries families adapted their homes, bedding, routines, and even social habits around winter nights. Knowledge passed down not through books, but through watching elders who had already survived decades of cold seasons. And what's striking is that these habits were consistent across regions with harsh winters, suggesting this wasn't desperation. It was refinement, a collective understanding of how to sleep safely when warmth was scarce. Now, here's where the real ingenuity reveals itself, because medieval people didn't sleep in open, exposed spaces the way we do today. Imagine step by step how a winter night was engineered. Beds were raised off the ground to escape frozen floors, stuffed with straw, wool, or reeds that trapped air and insulated the body. Many families used enclosed box beds or heavy curtains that turned the sleeping space into a heat pocket. Clothing was rearranged, not removed. Dry wool layers kept close to the skin to manage moisture, heavier layers placed above, and damp garments banished entirely because moisture was the real enemy. Bodies slept close together, sharing heat intentionally, sometimes with animals nearby, and even head coverings mattered, because heat escaped fastest from the head, and all of this worked together so body heat stayed where it belonged, and sleep became not an act of comfort, but a carefully managed survival process that medieval people understood instinctively. And this is where the medieval approach suddenly feels smarter than modern habits. Because today we heat entire buildings and sleep exposed under thin blankets, completely dependent on continuous energy. Yet medieval sleepers created micro-environments, warming just the space that mattered, and this mindset has powerful modern applications during winter blackouts, extreme storms, or off-grid living. Sealing one room, insulating bedding, wearing breathable layers, managing moisture and sleeping close can preserve warmth far more efficiently than trying to heat empty air. Imagine redesigning sleep for resilience instead of convenience, using layered bedding, draft control and zone heating rather than relying entirely on machines. And suddenly medieval sleep doesn't feel primitive. It feels adaptive, even forward-thinking. So how did medieval people sleep through cold winters, and why might it be smarter than today? Because they understood something we've largely forgotten, that warmth is not something you demand from your environment. It's something you cultivate through awareness, design, and habit. And as modern systems grow more fragile and winters more unpredictable, this forgotten wisdom becomes more than historical curiosity. It becomes practical knowledge, reminding us that humans once thrived in conditions far harsher than we imagine, not by overpowering nature, but by listening to it. And if this journey into the medieval night changed how you think about sleep, comfort or resilience, consider sharing it, subscribing, or continuing to explore how the past still holds quiet lessons for surviving the future.